Hey guys, it's Lane here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we are doing another comic book review. Today is July 11th. It's the day that Superman releases in theaters officially. It's also the day right before my birthday, so tomorrow I will be going to watch that movie as my birthday gift from my sister. She is buying us lunch, and then we're going to watch the movie. And today we're talking about something that is kind of part of the promotional material for this movie. The DC Comics comic arm released a bunch of stuff that falls under the Summer of Superman banner, I guess is the word. And one of those things that they published is this massive book here. It's called Superman Treasury 2025, A Hero for All. This is written by Dan Jurgens. It has art by Bruno Redondo. It has Cato Felipe as the inker, Adriano Lucas as the colorist, and for a specific set of panels in here, we have Dave Sharp and Brett Breeding as a secondary set of inkers and colorists and letterers, right? So this is a Treasury edition. It's massive. It's bigger than my head. Here it is compared to a current magazine. Massive book. And here it is compared to a normal current comic book. This is basically the same size, just massively scaled up. And it's also, well, it's not quite half of this, right? That's how paper works. They usually, a sheet is cut in half this way and then in half that way again to create these rectangular shapes, right? So this is Superman, Hero for All. Here's what the back looks like. It's very nice. You could put this up as a poster if you really wanted to. I did have to go buy myself on eBay some bags and boards for Treasury editions. Hopefully it's the right size. This is 10 1/4 by 13 3/8, I think is what it is. And it's a really freaking phenomenal book. It's massive. And that massiveness really helps portray some of the artwork here in a phenomenal fashion. It's really great. I loved it. I had a lot of fun with this book. So if you are someone that doesn't really watch my content all that much, I'm just going to go through the book and I'll show you some of the artwork as we go through it. And we'll just talk about Superman. So I'm not necessarily the greatest Superman fan ever. You know, I did grow up watching some of the movies, but it's not necessarily like my favorite thing ever. It's only recently that I've really been thinking of myself as a proper Superman fan. I'm mostly reading the Joshua Williamson run. Although growing up, I had a friend whose dad was really into Superman, and they had a bunch of comic books, and I would read a lot of them, right? So I've read Superman versus the Klan. I've read Birthright. I've read Red Sun. I've read quite a few different Superman titles in my day. I'm just not, I just didn't really consider myself a Superman fan until relatively recently. But I do like him a lot more than Batman, for sure. I'm not really a Batman fan, although I did like the Batman movie, right? So this is my favorite panel in the whole book. It's freaking awesome. I would actually just put this up as a poster, as is, but I would have to buy a specific size poster frame, and I'm not sure that I can find one. But it would be nice to put it up there. But I'd rather keep this as a proper comic book to read. So let's get talking about the book. So it opens up with Superman and Lois sending John, their son, who at this point is still young. He's kind of in the Super Sons kind of age range at this point, and he is sent off with the Kents back to the farm in Kansas. And this is because Superman knows that something is coming. He is concerned that this is going to be a big enough issue that he's not going to be able to concentrate if his son is in the city. And so he sends him away. And then a giant mecha shows up that I showed you guys. And there's a very quick fight here. Kind of Superman just knocks it down pretty easily, moves it off into the ocean where it's not going to harm people directly. Although there would still be a tsunami wave if something that big pushes out into the water, right? And then it seems like everything is good. Superman goes off into space in order to see what's going on, and then stuff starts to get kind of weird. Like, you kind of get flashbacks or kind of explanations about how Superman is the way he is now, why he is the way he is now, and you start realizing, oh, this story isn't lining up to what I know of Superman in reality, right? Like, he was born in Krypton, raised on Earth. His parents grew up with him. They didn't die in a tornado or anything. And he hid himself from from reality for a while, and then eventually became a proper, superhero character as a teenager, and then moved on to Metropolis, right? And he was friends with a bunch of kids in Kansas, and then he goes off into the city. He meets Lex and he meets Lois, right? And so, that basic kind of idea. And throughout the book that we're reading, the story feels like it's not quite right. It shows you things that are a bit different, right? In one of them, Pa Kent dies. In another one, Lois Lane and Lex Luthor are in a relationship. In another vignette, we have the situation where Luthor was friends with Clark from childhood, which is more of a situation that happens more in the Smallville universe than it does in proper continuity, as far as I understand it. And so that the story is weird. It's not quite right, but you don't know why, right? And then we transition over to a different scene after Superman goes into space. Things get weird, and the Watchtower is destroyed. The only people that are in there are Black Canary and Green Arrow, so they manage to teleport back to Earth on time. And then the JLU, or the Justice League, Unlimited, is deployed. And I call them the Unlimited because it's literally everyone on the planet that's a superhero gets deployed. At least it looks like. And it turns out that the world is being invaded by aliens. These aliens are being led by Maxima and Cyborg Superman. Now, I don't know who the Maxima character is. Based on some of the stuff that they mentioned here, I assume that she's a character that comes from one of the previous runs that was pretty popular recently. I think it was the Warworld saga, right? I think that's what it was. Or maybe Warworld is a thing from Marvel. But there is a run of Superman where he's dressed like John Carter of Mars, and I think that's where Maxima's from. If she's not, please correct me down below, but I haven't read that stuff yet, so I'm not really quite sure. But it seems like she and Cyborg Superman are working together because Maxima wanted to marry Superman, and he didn't want to because he was already married to Lois, and so she finds the next best thing, which is Cyborg Superman. And they've come down to Earth to reap their revenge, to try to kill Lois, to try to take over the Earth, and then hold it hostage so that Superman will marry Maxima. And I guess Cyber Superman is letting that happen so that he can kill him later, right? And as Cyborg Superman starts attacking Metropolis, Wonder Woman gets beat, Luthor gets beat when he shows up with his cool mech suit, and then Batman and Lois manage to escape in the kind of kerfuffle going on there, right? And then John and the little girl from Action Comics, what was it, from the Dawn of DC relaunch, shows up again, and they have a bit of an altercation. Then she's like, no, man, I'm on your side this time, I promise. And they fight off some of the alien invading robots. And then we finally figure out why there was problems. It's because Superman was trapped when he fought the robot, right? So the robot managed to trap him, sent him off into space, and then his memories are being changed, erased, modified by these little alien creatures in order for him to accept and maximize his mate, and to change him psychologically so that he'll accept this stuff much more easily. But of course it's not going to work, right? John is yelling for his dad, telling him, hey, I need you. Superman subconsciously hears it, and he still knows the truth. The mind modifications that are being done to him don't quite work. He just has a very honest, atavistic nature, and he knows reality, right? And so this kind of pushes off into a moment of willpower where Superman, remembers his true self, and we get thrown through this set of flashbacks in this very cool style, I think by Dan Jurgens in this case. And I showed them to you already, but here they are again. And so we get the proper origin story to Superman, some of the highlights of his early career that I think were initially dealt with in Action Comics. Then, his proper turning into Superman at the Daily Planet, fighting Starro, his general rogues, and then some of the stuff that happens to him later on, the death of Superman, getting married to Lois, dealing with some of these other characters, the dark versions of himself, his rebirth, and then the Super Sons era there right before this kind of catches up to us, right? And that was an amazing sequence. I really loved it. I thought the art style was really cool, very, very enjoyable. And he remembers, he yells out that he's Superman, and he saves the day. He runs around the Earth, destroying all of these alien ships, And then they manage to kick everyone's ass. We see the JLU assembled, and Superman beats Maxima, and then everyone is just dealing with rebuilding Metropolis and rebuilding the world, and Superman's leading the charge because he is the greatest superhero to ever live, right? And it's really, really awesome. The book has no ads whatsoever. There are some back matter contents that are here. So it's for Superman 2025, the movie. You know, we get some pictures, some poster type looking stuff. We get an interview with what's his name? Alex Holt. Let me see if that's correct. Nicholas Holt, sorry. And we do have one ad here at the very, very end, which of course is not a big deal because it's for Superman stuff. And we also get a nice reading recommendation list as well, which I like. You know, it mentions that Action Comics 1087 is about to start. It mentions Superman 28, Superman Unlimited, and then it talks about All-Star Superman. It talks about Superman for All Seasons, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, and some other stuff there as well. So very, very, very nice book. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was phenomenal. I love the size. I've never bought a Treasury edition before. I thought that, you know, it'd be a bit smaller, but no, it is a massive, massive book. It's worth the $15. It's a full one and done story. I mean, in another format, this would just be a graphic novel. The only issue that I really have with this is because it is still like a normal comic book, even though it has a much higher quality paper and cardstock. It does still have edge damage that happens over time. I mean, I've literally been as careful as I possibly could be with this, and it already has some fraying here at the edges. So that's not great. Mostly, you know, as a collector, I would have liked to be able to put it in a bag and board immediately. I didn't know that it was going to be this big, so I didn't prepare. But I will eventually put it in a bag and board by Monday probably. So hopefully I'll just manage to avoid nicking it anymore. But the complaint was that maybe this should have been a box, like a perfect, you know, bound edition, like the oversized magazine editions that they have. What are they called? The Black Label. It would have been nicer if it was that. At the same time, that's not really what a Treasury is like. So I understand why they didn't do that. I think it would have just been a bit nicer, in my opinion. But maybe it would have not been. So I don't know. But those are my thoughts there on Superman Treasury Edition 2025, A Hero for All. Let me know what you thought down below. Let me know what you think of Superman, but no spoilers just yet because I am going to watch it tomorrow. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.